Hey, hi guys, welcome back to Qualysguard Vulnerability Management Assessment Tool tutorials. So now today we will learn about the knowledge base of Qualysguard Enterprise. Okay, so let us start now. I've logged into my Qualysguard console. Now if you can see here, we have a tab called knowledge base. Yes, we are into the knowledge base now. So what actually knowledge base gives us is knowledge base gives us the most current and the comprehensive vulnerability and threat intelligence information. Okay, now I'll show you how we can get that. Here, if you click on the knowledge base, it's getting uploaded. Yes, I think we are getting that. Now, if you see here, the latest, this is the knowledge base tab, and here you can see multiple columns and multiple rows here. Okay, so we'll go one by one. The first one you see is a QID, right? So Qualys Guard assigns a QID, a specific QID to each and every vulnerability which it has got into its database. Okay, whenever a vulnerability is updated into the database, Qualys Guard will be assigning a specific value to that vulnerability called QID. Okay, this QID helps us to search that specific vulnerability while searching it. Okay. Now let us see here the next column we have is a title. Title gives us the name of the vulnerability. Now you can see here it is CentOS security update for GNU PG2. It is the name of that vulnerability. Okay, and categories. Here we have the category, like what type of category it is. It is a OS level or application level, or it is just a security policy to be updated, or if it is a backdoor and Trojan. Okay, likewise, the categories are decided. Next, these are the CVE IDs. I think all of you all might be aware of the CVE, what is CVE and how we get that. Okay, this is CVE ID for the specific vulnerability, and here we have the vendor reference. Vendor reference is like the company which it is bought. So you can see here the Confluent platform or Apache Kafka USN 45102. Different. And it is a CVSS base. You know what CVSS base is? CVSS stands for Common Vulnerability Scoring System, and the scores are depend. The scores are calculated based on the severities of the vulnerability. And CVSS 3 base, and there is also a Backtrack ID, and there is also a Backtrack ID which is present. It is just like another. It is just like a QID which we have assigned to that vulnerability. It is also a specific term used here, and we have when this vulnerability got published into this, and when if it is modified that date. Two dates we have here: published and modified. Okay, and based upon whatever content you want or whatever things you need, you can short it accordingly. Okay, the sorting can be done on any of these tabs, on any of these columns, based on the requirement. Okay, so here it is. As this in the database, it is taking much time. It should come fast actually. Yeah. Now this has sorted. See here, you can also sort based upon these things. And rows shown here, you can even adjust these rows to how many rows you want to show per particular page. Now I selected 500, so we'll get the 500 rows here. These things for arranging, it's taking time. And yeah, now we have got see 500 rows here. So let us see here. Now if you can, if you see on this title, if you see on this title, you will see here plus symbol, key symbol, which says that unique authenticated discovery and patch available. Okay, what kind of, if you go down, sometimes you also see another terms, like you can see green Wi-Fi here, green Wi-Fi symbol, which is saying green Wi-Fi symbol, which is saying remote discovery. So over here, if you can, I'll show you one of the tab here where you have these things here, lot many terms. Okay, one second. We'll go to the vulnerability database and we will see what it shows. You can see here the pencil one. Pencil indicates that it is edited. It's edited by the manager user. And you know what? Here, whenever it is in the VMware, the VM knowledge base, only the manager role can edit the QIDs. Okay, and no other role can edit the this thing, edit the QIDs. And the green Wi-Fi antenna, and the green Wi-Fi antenna, which shows that vulnerabilities that can be detected remotely by a Qualys scanner appliance without use of the there's not authentication is not required for that. And if authentication is required, then it is showing for that QID. QID will be associated with that blue key icon, and the red color shows that it's a patch required. Okay, and the black hat shows that it identifies that have a known exploit, and the red color hazard symbol shows there is an associated malware with it. The blue gear icon shows that it is protected from exploits by making special. That means if we do any specific configuration, we can make that host to be protected from exploits. And lastly, the hexagon symbol, which shows that it is also the services are not currently running on that host. Okay, so these are the things which are available on the lab as well as on that vulnerability title. Okay, so based on this, we can have an overview of the vulnerability and thereby take certain actions. Now, if you go to the search tab here, yeah, the search tab gives us the QID vulnerability title. I already told you, you can search using the QID. You can also search using the CVID, and you can also search using the title and the category. Discovery method will be three types. You can see here remote only, authenticate only, and remote and authenticated. You can select whatever type you want. And authentication type, whatever authentication type you are having, SNMP, Tomcat, Unix, VMware, whatever it is, you can do that. And then comes the vendor reference. I'll show you the vendor reference and using the Backtrack ID as well, and CVSSB score, and also the severity. If you want to just check, if I want to check the confirmed severity of and potential severity of level 5, okay, then I'll check all these things. Let us see here. I've added those two. Already showing all the vulnerabilities which are severe here. Yeah, it's done. So you can see the CVSS3 base is 10 and CVSS base is 9.3. But what we did is all we have searched for the high severity vulnerabilities in our database, and we have got these results. There are 4942 high priority severity vulnerabilities. Right? Now, the similar way here, we can also check for certain. If you see the column, if you check, I'll include the severity as well. You can see the severity here. Yeah, you can see the severity 5 you have selected and all reds. Okay, now if I remove that severity, you can see in sometimes, wait, I'll show you. There is a yellow color here, full yellow color, right? There is a full red and full yellow. Sometimes there will be red and yellow. See here, there is a red and yellow, it is showing. Okay, what does this color means? What does it is showing? Okay, full red means it is a confirmed vulnerability. That means there was an active test which ran, and it was verified that that particular vulnerability is confirmed to be possessed. And the second one is when it is a yellow color. When it is in yellow color, it is like it is a potential vulnerability. What it is? It is a potential vulnerability. So that means it requires the manual verification. You need a manual intervention on that to confirm whether it is a confirmed vulnerability or it is not. And sometimes there will be a blue color. Mm, here I think it is not. Yeah, I'll show you when it comes to the hands-on. So when it is yellow color, I showed it, right? This is a potential vulnerability. That means it needs a manual intervention to check and verify. And now when I'm talking to this one, half red and half yellow, what it says. First thing is that yellow color. Yellow color says that it is a untrusted. It is an untrusted one and it is a potential vulnerability. But again the scan will be run on that ID, on the same QID, and again it gets confirmed that it can be trusted case. Okay. So then that means if it is whenever the active test is not available to confirm the presence of that vulnerability, it is categorized as a potential vulnerability and coded yellow color. But whenever the test is there, test is performed, and it is confirmed that there is a presence of vulnerability, then it is coded as red. Okay. First one, first one when it run a scan, it will confirm it as a potential vulnerability because there was no test. Second, it runs a test and confirms that there is a vulnerability and it is coded red. So you can see both. Okay, that means this will be depending upon a use of authentication. That if you perform the scan in the authenticated mode, these vulnerabilities will be confirmed and it will be colored red. If you are performing without authentication, these vulnerabilities will be potential and colored yellow. Okay, authentication matters here. Then next comes the severity levels. Like I already told you, I already selected directly severity 5, which is the most urgent. But if you want to check the severity levels here, this is the severity levels. There are 1 to 5. 1 is the minimal level and 5 is the most urgent level. Okay, most urgent level can lead to the compromise of your network, entire network. That means it is that urgent that if you don't patch or if you don't act on these vulnerabilities, there are chances that it will directly take root or admin access on your network, on any host of your network, and thereby exploiting whole network. And whereas one is the least urgent, that means it can be like any open port you have or any services running on that port, but you have vulnerabilities on that port. Okay. So these are the severity levels which we have, and now here severity 3 and 4 I have shown that is also involves some type of potential compromise, but it is like related to applications or some services. Now next comes, I already show you in that there is in the tab you can see CVSS base. What is the CVSS? It is the rating system for PCI DSS. Okay, Common Vulnerability Scoring System. It is a rating system for PCI DSS, and this CVSS is provided in addition to the call suite. That means this is on depending upon the NIST framework. CVSS is given on the NIST framework, on the basis of NIST framework, in addition to the quality severity. It also considers the quality severity, but also considers the NIST framework as well. Both it will add and give you the CVSS base. And I've mentioned that there are two columns again if you see here on the tab, CVE ID and Backtrack ID. You know CVAD it comes from the framework Mitre. If you go to Mitre frame attack with Mitre network attack framework, there you can find the CVEs related to certain vulnerabilities. Okay, and Backtrack also. it is also Backtrack ID is also such type where you can get the insights from the security focused website. It considers both of this Maitre attack framework and also the security focused websites, and it extracts the information from that. So, and you can also check the QID related information, and you can also edit it. I'll show you one second when it goes to knowledge base. If you go to the CID here, knowledge base, search list will be dealing it in the next coming video. We will select one of the vulnerabilities and see what actual information it is. I'm sorry, guys. There is some construction work going on here, and you're getting the sounds. Yeah. Now, if you see here, we'll click on the one of these vulnerabilities. You go to this info, and two options are there. You can click. I'm clicking the edit option now. So first we'll see this edit option, and then we'll go for the info. Right now here, if you see in the edit option, we have general information, we have threat and impact and solution, and there is another feature added called change log here. Okay, so in the general information, if you see, you can change the severity levels here. It is given as 5 urgent standard, but you can set it as you have the manager role. As you have the manager role here, you can set this vulnerability according to your this thing. And sometimes, if you don't want this vulnerability to get reported in the reports, you can disable this vulnerability, and it won't show in the vulnerability report, but it will be there in the reports. It will be there in the raw scans when this vulnerability is scanned. Okay, that means it is just not available in the reports, but it will be there in the list, raw scan list. Okay, and under threat, you can add any comments if you want regarding the threat. It is giving the threat details, what actually the threat is, and what impact it will create, and what is the solution. Okay, you should patch the following are the download patches to fix the vulnerabilities. You can download the patch, and there are no changes for this vulnerability. Okay, restore defaults. You can click on restore defaults if you don't want to change anything. As I did not change anything, it will be the same. Then it goes back again. Okay. Now, if you want any info of this vulnerability, you can click on the info tab, and thereby here you have this many QID related info. Okay. Uh, ఆంటీ లేదంటే రే ఇది ఉందిరా ఇక్కడ మ్యూట్ చేసుకోవడానికి ఉంది, నాకు మ్యూట్ చేసుకోవడానికి ఉంది. So here if you see the info, we see the info of this. General information gives me the general details of this, and the details in details it is giving my CB Backtrack ID. It is not been sent to this, and what type of software related to it. It's related to Ubuntu, and product is Samba, and its threat, its impact, its solution, and exploitability, and what are the associated malware with this. There is no malware. And search list, I'll tell you the search list regarding search list in the next video, don't worry. And what type of compliance it is, and change log. Okay, you can close it. So this is it guys for the, this is the knowledge base and the knowledge base search we do. Okay, and in the next video we will see what is the knowledge base search list, and we will deal with it, right? That's it for this video. Thank you.